the fact that what we have had is a decline in both the economy and the politics of the states. And the economy and the politics are intertwined.
And he is saying Nigerians need to wake up and stand for their right. For me, he just stated the obvious. You and I are feeling it.
Welcome back. This is News Insights on Landslide News, and I'm your host, Victor Ama, and I have with me fellow discussants, Barrister Philip and Pastor Kingsley. Thank you for coming. On today's News Insights, we are going to be talking about Obasanjo's keynote address. It was a very moving topic. So he criticized Nigerian leadership, and we're going to talk about it here. Barrister Philip, what exactly did Obasanjo say was wrong with Nigeria's leadership?
Thank you very much. Obasanjo was just stating the obvious. He said that Nigeria is a failed state and is a captured state by the present administration headed by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. He substantiated his claim with facts. One of them is the Edo State election. On Edo State election, the economy, the state of life today, the hyperinflation, and all of that. And he said Nigeria need to do more to get out of the woes, that this government has failed. The APC led government for the past 9 years had brought to us bad governance that had plunged the country into abject poverty. And by the extent of impunity exhibited by the sitting government is unimaginable. And he is saying Nigerians need to wake up and stand for their right. For me, he just stated the obvious. You and I are feeling it.
That's true.
We are feeling it. People tend to say Obasanjo is a bad critic, say, why he was there? Why didn't he do otherwise? When he was there, what was he able to do? After all, he wanted a third tenure and he was top and all of that. Take a good look at the state of the nation today. Obasanjo contributed his quota. The little reform we are enjoying today in the telecommunication sector and all that were brought by Obasanjo administration. He set the goal. He set the ball rolling. Yara took over from him, although nation stopped him. Jonathan took over and he started on, and we became the most viable economy in Africa, the biggest economy in Africa. And then the APC stepped in and they took us 100 years backward, and they are still pushing us backward. And you said the match will not say. It is said in African palace that where the elders are quiet when things are going wrong, then the sin should be on their head. Even in the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel was saying that a prophet, a man of God, who refused to warn the people, and the people see the sin of those people will be upon that prophet's head. If Obasanjo remained silent because he's living affluence based on the fact that the privilege he had as a former president, then he'll be doing disservices to himself. So Obasanjo has said the obvious. That's my take.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister Philip. Pastor Kingsley. So Obasanjo said something. He said this will not only affect Nigeria. He said it will also affect Africa as a whole. Can you throw more light to that statement?
Okay, thank you for having me here today. I'm very surprised that my friend has gone spiritual today. He has quoted from the Bible instead of state governors. I know him to be a lawyer and a politician, but that's okay, Of course, everything that we can see is obvious to our eyes. But we also must, first of all, note that there's a background to every of the crises that we're having today. It's shocking, the things that President Tinubu is doing. Shocking because he called himself a Democrat. And the tendency to which he's moving is not that of a Democrat at all. First of all, I've been shouting about him, talking about it from the Buhari era. We have forms of government and types of government. Now, you have the judiciary, you have the executive, then you have the legislative. Now, they are supposed to run checks on each of them. But what they have done right now is to synchronize or rather clamp the three together, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative, to make sure that they can rule authoritarianly, dictatorially in what they are doing. And number one, it's not good for the country. It's not good for our economy. It's not good for politics. People don't have the right to choose whatever they want to choose anymore. We are coerced to do and accept what they want it to be. And the funny thing about it is that what they want it to be, it is not working. Now, from my own take, from his appointment to economic policies, so many things are wrong. I will ask, why will you bring a head of a civil secretary to the state, to the federal government, to be a man that has been 2-time governor? We didn't see him transform Benue, 2-time senator, minister, to now be, what has he done to earn him being the secretary to the federal government? And all the likes that he has brought in. Now, in our own economic pursuit, what have we gained in this APC? Let's put it as APC government for the past 9 years now. What has been the benefit of Nigeria instead of the fact that what we have had is a decline in both the economy and the politics of the states? And the economy and the politics are intertwined. Democracies like America, for example, you have them separated. People that rule the economy are not the same thing that rule the political space. Of course, those that in political space, they make policies and expect the economic people to conform. But they too also have a voice. But in our own case, every policy can grind you to make sure your business stops. Just imagine, we talked about the petroleum the other day, the Dangote refinery, the NNPC. NNPC has 4 refineries that have not worked. So why do you think that they should have a hand in a refinery that is managed by or built and managed by an individual? They should not be a part of it at all. So in all retrospect, if we look back, you find out that all their policies are failed policies, and they are bent on hooking to power whichever way they want to do it.
That's true. Barrister Philip, Obasanjo highlighted something. He said, when we educate the masses, that it's easier for them to understand that the government is not doing their job, and it's going to be easier for them to revolt. And most things that happen, most things that are allowed to happen, is as a result of ignorance. So what do you think about this particular statement?
I agree with Obasanjo 100%. But before I dive into that, I want to respond to the question you asked him earlier on, that what is the effect of Nigeria's failure to the African continent? I said here that Nigeria was one time the biggest economy in Africa. And Nigeria is being referred to, not anymore, as the giant of Africa. All other African countries look up to Nigeria. But if Nigeria failed as it is today, Africa had failed. If Nigeria is destroyed, Africa has been destroyed. So, the ripple effect of what Obasanjo is saying is that the APC-led government of Nigeria destroying Nigeria today is, by extension, destroying Africa. So, coming to the question you asked me now, what Obasanjo has said, the only way out is to educate the masses. Education, per se, is one of the key instruments that can redeem a society. When people are enlightened, when people know their rights, when people know their left from their right, when people know that this thing belongs to me and you can't take it unjustly, they will stand for it. So the only thing, like Obasanjo said, that I said I agree with him absolutely, is only through the mass education of the masses. And this is what General IBB, Ibrahim Babangida, did in his days. He had what we call mass mobilization, a Department of Orientation and all that was led by Professor Jerry Garner.
MAMSA.
Thank you for helping me out. You know, these people were going out to educate the masses on their right, on what to do to checkmate government. Not to be casual, like he said. The judiciary, they will say, go to court. Go to court. They've not even finished all those state elections. Say, go to court. Those who agree, go to court. Where you know the judiciary are in your pocket.
Yes, of course.
So we really need to educate the masses so that the Nigeria state can wake up from its slumber.
Okay, so let me talk a little bit about educating the masses. So we had MAMSA. Yeah. That was an agency of government. But their own was to educate and also take feedback into the system so that they can articulate and analyze them and put them back into the decision-making arm of government. That was a military rule. They wanted to have a feedback from the people. But what we have right now, MAMSA, I think, was taken over by National Orientation Agency, NOA. Now, NOA is an arm of government right now. And if you notice, for the past 8 to 9 years, NOA has been silent. The APC government has not used NOA that much. I saw my friend the other day, Tosin Adeyanju, went to NOA and tried to tell them that they can help them to disseminate information. So in my mind, I was just saying that, is it that NOA doesn't get enough money to propagate government policy, let people know that Tosin is now coming in to say, we will help you? Well, that's aside. But the NOA now is a tool of the government to try to force down the truth to the people what the government want to do, not their opinion. Now, so what do? We need mass education. What do? Now, we now need non-governmental agencies like what people like Tosin, Deji Adeyanju is doing, yes. The Berekete family. You see, people don't run to the court now to go and
solve cases.
Solve cases. They run to Berekete.
That's true.
They run to Tosin, Deji Adeyanju. They run to very dark man to go and solve their cases. So that means it's a failed state. Like Obasanjo is saying, people don't run there. If a politician knows that his name will be mentioned on social media, do you understand, for wrongdoing, he will sit up.
Yes, that's true.
But if he say go to court, look at the House of Rep member that assaulted someone. He went to court and they are trying to maneuver the whole thing. But social media told him that you can't do what you want to do. I don't know if you understand. Yeah, so what we now need to do is that a lot of these NGOs, this non-governmental, they need to stand up. I know so many of them are being funded from outside of the country or from within somehow. And sometimes he that plays the piper dictates the tune. If you give me money to run my NGO, I cannot be, you tell me don't talk about this one or don't talk about that one. But I think right now our strength, our whatever, relies on people like very dark man.
Yes.
And Adeyanju. And maybe Aisha Yusuf, you need to go to Berekete on a normal day.
Every morning.
You will see there's a traffic there.
Yes, that's true.
Because the politicians don't want to be called out. So they need to be called out. That's where the power of social media also comes up. Okay. Do you understand? Yeah. If Senator Akpabio announces that all of you check your account and see that some small more money have been paid for you to... Meanwhile, Nigerians are hungry. So they try to guide what they are trying to say, and that's the power of social media right now. And I think we need to use it more, like what we are doing right now. We need to use it more. Send out, that you can't keep on doing what you are doing. They say it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So that's democracy. So we must abide by those ones. So those we can never wait for them to say they want to enlighten the people. Even the Obasanjo, General Obasanjo or President Obasanjo, I challenge him. Let him set up a youth forum where they can begin to educate leaders of youth, like whether they are from student union.
Apart from all these things, some people. On that, one major issue we have in Nigeria is the whole corruption, and some people benefit from this thing. So even if they are aware, the fact that they are going to benefit from this thing just makes them not to cover it up or to help the government cover it up or to just, because if they know that when Nigeria is strict with their policies, that they will end up not gaining anything.
Yes.
Because now Nigeria rewards corruption.
Okay, so let me tell you something. Who are the people gaining something? For example, I heard during Edo State government election, PDP shared 10,000 naira. APC shared 5,000 naira. So everybody is standing to gain on the day of election 15,000 naira. And maybe some of them have not seen 15,000 naira in a whole. And that's payment for the next 4 years. But I can also bet you that the more people that are more hungry are much more than the people that are benefiting from this government. So what they need to do, Nigerians don't ask for much. Give us good access road.
Let me cut in here.
Yes.
See, we're talking about educating the masses.
Yes.
You know, this is not part of the education. You have named the instrument through which we can educate the masses. I think that is where it is. You have also said that the so-called established agencies will not give us the desired results. So what we need is more of the private endeavor, which is the NGOs.
No, what she's asking is that the people that are benefiting...
Get it. That is outside the question. Time up. Okay, so
thank you very much for this. Was such an interesting topic, and I wish we could continue. Well, thank you for being here. I'm your host, Victory Amma. Thank you so much for watching News Insight on Landslide News. See you next time.